The definition of insanity. Why running it back might be the Phillies' fatal flaw. Is the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a parade down Broad Street? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are not just scratching the surface. We are performing an autopsy on the Philadelphia Phillies' off-season strategy. We need to have a very uncomfortable, very necessary conversation about the dangerous comfort of stagnation. We are staring down the barrel of the 2026 season, and the silence from the front office is starting to feel less like confidence and more like negligence. The biggest move this winter? Re-signing Kyle Schwarber. Don't get me wrong, we love Schwarbombs. He is the soul of this team, a leader in the clubhouse, and a power hitter who defines the modern era of Phillies baseball. But let's be brutally honest with ourselves. Is keeping the band together enough when the Atlanta Braves are reloading with surgical precision, the Los Angeles Dodgers are spending billions like it's monopoly money, and the New York Mets are constantly lurking in the shadows with their endless resources? The Phillies have essentially pressed copy and paste on a roster that, while undeniably talented, has slowly receded in October over the last few years. We went from the euphoria of a World Series appearance to the heartbreak of an NLCS collapse, and then to a whimpering early exit that left this city stunned. The trend line is pointing down, not up. And yet, the roster remains frozen in amber, relying on the hope that the same core will suddenly find a new gear. But there is a rumble in the distance, a suggestion floating around the baseball world that could be the seismic shift this franchise desperately needs. We are looking at a proposal that involves trading away a homegrown all-star, a fan favorite who has had his ups and downs in this city but ultimately won our hearts. I'm talking about Alec Bohm. The idea on the table, championed by analysts like Christopher Klein of Fansided, is to deal Bohm before opening day, right now before the first pitch is thrown, and bring in a different kind of energy. Why? Because the Phillies are currently projecting Bohm as their cleanup hitter. Let that sink in for a moment. Is that a championship caliber cleanup spot in 2026? The argument here isn't that Bohm is a bad player. It's that his contract is expiring, his clutch resume is shaky at best, and his trade value might never be higher than it is at this exact moment. Klein argues that despite Bohm's all-star nod, his resume in high-leverage situations is highly suspect, and that his projected role as the primary run producer behind Harper is a massive liability. If Dave Dombrowski wants to prove he's still the aggressive architect we know, this is the kind of ruthless, calculated move that separates the contenders from the pretenders. We are talking about trading a known quantity for a higher ceiling, a move that requires ice in your veins. The anatomy of a trade, deconstructing the power outage at third base. To truly understand why this trade is even being discussed, we have to look at the anatomy of the Phillies' recent failures and the specific metrics of the third base position. It's not just about bad luck, it's about roster construction and the ceiling of your core players. Alec Bohm has been a fascinating case study in Philadelphia. We've seen him mature from the kid who was caught on camera saying, "I hate this place," to an all-star who embraces the chaos. Last season, he slashed 287 with an OPS of .741. Solid numbers? Absolutely. But are they cleanup hitter on a World Series team numbers? That is the $10 million question. When the lights get brightest in October, we need power that translates into runs, not just singles that move the line. The critique is that Bohm's power numbers, 11 home runs in 120 games, just aren't terrifying opposing pitchers. Pitchers aren't losing sleep the night before facing a lineup where the cleanup hitter has a slugging percentage barely cracking 400s. In the modern game, corner infielders are expected to be the primary power sources. Think of the great Phillies third basemen of the past. Mike Schmidt, Scott Rowland. They were threats to leave the yard every single at-bat. Bohm, for all his contact skills, does not offer that threat. Now, let's pivot to the proposed solution. Isaac Paredes. This isn't just swapping one third baseman for another. This is a philosophical shift in how the lineup is built. Paredes brings a completely different offensive profile. Last season, his slash line included a .352 on-base percentage, and crucially, 20 home runs with a significantly higher slugging percentage than Bohm. He pulls the ball with authority, he hits for power, and he walks. Historically, the Phillies have thrived when they have legitimate threats from top to bottom. Think back to the 2008 team or even the 2022 run. It was about timely power. Paredes offers that pop that Bohm has struggled to consistently generate. His OPS was over 800, nearly 70 points higher than Bohm's. In the analytics era, that difference is the margin between a stalled inning and a 3-run rally. Furthermore, we have to talk about the defensive metrics. While Bohm has improved significantly with the glove, he is still not considered an elite defender. Paredes offers versatility and a steady glove that could stabilize the infield defense. The trade proposal suggests that by acquiring Paredes, the Phillies are not just getting a better hitter, but a better fit for Citizens Bank Park. This stadium rewards pull hitters who can lift the ball to left field. Paredes' spray chart is a thing of beauty for this ballpark. He hits the ball in the air to the pull side consistently. Bohm, conversely, hits a lot of ground balls and uses the opposite field, which often results in singles rather than extra base hits. The data screams that Paredes is the superior offensive player for this specific environment, and ignoring that data in favor of sentimentality is a dangerous game to play. The financial chess match, contract years, prospects, and the future of the franchise. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the business side, because baseball is as much about asset management as it is about hitting curveballs. Alec Bohm is entering his walk year. He is set to be a free agent after this season. This is a critical juncture for the franchise. If the Phillies hold on to him and he has a mediocre season, or worse, the team falters again in the playoffs, he walks out the door for nothing but a compensatory pick. That is a disaster scenario for a front office trying to maximize a championship window that is slowly closing as Bryce Harper and Trea Turner age. Trading him now recoups value. It brings in an asset like Paredes, who is not only a power upgrade, but is cost-controlled for a couple more years. This gives the Phillies financial flexibility to address other holes, maybe another high-leverage bullpen arm or elite bench depth, without worrying about Bohm's massive extension looming over their heads. The luxury tax implications are real, and getting younger and cheaper while getting better is the holy grail of general management. And then there is the Aidan Miller factor. The other pathway Klein suggests is calling up the top prospect. This brings back memories of when we called up Mikel Franco, or even going further back to the hype around Dom Brown. There is a romanticism about the homegrown savior. Miller has the five-tool skill set that scouts drool over. He represents the unknown, the infinite potential, but relying on a rookie to save your season on day one is a massive gamble. It recalls the pressure put on young stars who weren't quite ready. Do we want to repeat that cycle? Or do we want a proven commodity like Paredes? However, if they trade Bohm and don't get Paredes, handing the keys to Miller is a bold, aggressive move that signals a new era. If Miller pops, you have a superstar on a rookie contract for 6 years. That is the golden ticket in modern baseball. It allows you to spend heavily elsewhere. But if he struggles, you have a gaping hole at third base in a season where you cannot afford to punt games. The projection models favor Paredes for immediate impact. He had a higher OPS, 809, compared to Bohm, 741, last year. We are talking about maximizing every single at-bat. If the Phillies are serious about winning now, sentimentality has to take a back seat to slugging percentage. The front office has to weigh the certainty of Bohm's floor against the promise of Paredes' power and Miller's potential. It is a high-stakes game of poker, and Dave Dombrowski is holding the cards. The verdict: loyalty versus victory in the city of brotherly love. So, here we stand at the crossroads of a season that hasn't even started yet. The Phillies have a choice that will define the next 5 years of this franchise. They can stay the course, wrap themselves in the warm blanket of familiarity, and hope that the same core that has fallen short suddenly finds a new gear. They can hope that Alec Bohm finally unlocks the 30 home run power we've been waiting for since he was drafted. Or they can be bold. They can recognize that Alec Bohm, for all his growth and all the love the city has for him, might be the piece they need to sacrifice to get the piece they actually need to win. Isaac Paredes represents power, control, and a fresh dynamic. Aidan Miller represents the high-risk, high-reward future. Keeping Bohm represents the status quo. And in the National League East, with the Braves and Mets constantly reloading, the status quo is a death sentence. This trade proposal is not for the faint of heart. It challenges the very notion of what it means to build a team. Do you build around friends, or do you build around production? If Paredes comes in and starts launching balls into the left field seats at Citizens Bank Park, the fans will forget the sentimental attachment to Bohm very quickly. Winning cures everything. But if they trade Bohm, and he goes on to have an MVP caliber season elsewhere, while the Phillies struggle to find production at third base, it will be a stain on the front office that will never wash away. I want to know what you think. This is one of the most polarizing topics in Philly right now. Are you ready to say goodbye to Alec Bohm if it means bringing in more power with Isaac Paredes? Or do you think breaking up the chemistry of this daycare group is a mistake that will haunt the locker room? Look at the numbers. Look at the playoff history. and tell me if you trust this current lineup to get past the Dodgers or the Braves in October. I'm not sure I do without one more big bat. Drop your comments below. I read every single one of them because your pulse is the pulse of this team. Don't forget to smash that like button if you want the front office to wake up, and subscribe for more unfiltered deep dive Phillies coverage. Let's make some noise. I'll see you in the next one.